Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about a few different things. First is introducing two blades that I got when I was over in California from the Zombie Tools guys. Those are the Xiphos, which is the single-handed version of the Diphos, and its predecessor, and the Skillus, which is a prototype at the moment, which will likely be coming out, being released sometime early next year, reportedly. But I got this over there, and I've been wearing it as an everyday carry knife because I can do that here in Georgia. I just usually carry it right there. But I'll do some closer up, in-depth reviews of those later. And I figured I'd go a little bit more in-depth into this sword that I'm working on making. It's made of 80 CRV2 steel. It's 40 inches long. It's got fullers ground in, a fuller ground in on either side. It's got obviously space for two hands. And I'm really looking forward to getting this sword made. Gotta straighten it out a little bit. It's a little bit, got a kink in it. But this one will be a lot of fun when it's done. But the primary focus of today's video is chainmail, because I've been working on some chainmail recently, and I actually made a shirt late last year that I didn't actually show you guys, so I figured I'd go over that. This one you've seen me in before, but I've made some modifications to it. I widened it a little bit because it was just a little tighter than I wanted. And, well, not exactly tight, it was just not as easy to get on and remove as I would have liked. But this is the one I made last year. Made it using 14 gauge wire, galvanized steel wire, and made the rings 3/8 of an inch in diameter. And I made the entire shirt at a 45-degree bias, which means instead of the rows of rings going nice and parallel, they went at 45 degrees like that, and meet up in elf weave seams in the front, the sides, and the back. And that made tailoring it a little strange, just because whenever it's the way it hangs is very different from a regular vest like that one would be. But that one goes down to roughly the knee, excuse me, more or less. And it's got kind of half-length sleeves on it. And I'll put both of these on because I realized a lot of people don't really have a good feel for how chainmail behaves and how it's best to put the stuff on and how best to remove it. Like, a lot of people try putting it on like a regular shirt, and that just doesn't work. But another reason I'm focusing on this is because I'm working on another large hauberk, which is going to be constructed much the same as this one, except it's going to go down to the knee, and there's going to be half sleeves out to about elbow length. And it's going to be big. It's going to be made with the same rings. These are 14 gauge galvanized steel with an interior diameter of 5/16 of an inch. So it's only a 1/16 of an inch smaller in diameter than these rings, but it really makes a big difference in how tight the weave is. Like, this stuff is a good bit tighter and smaller than this stuff. There's a lot of more open space in this, and it's a little bit more flexible. Not really a huge amount, but it's enough to notice if you're used to dealing with the stuff. But I coiled up 155 coils of rings, which I've cut maybe 20 or 30 of them so far, and I've started working on closing the half that I'll need to close. And this is going to take a while. This is going to be well over 20,000 rings in this one project. This vest was around 8,000 rings. This one was around 10,000. And that's another thing. When you got the bigger rings, they they encompass a lot more space with each ring. So this vest covers much less space for just a few thousand rings less than this one, which covers a great deal more area on the body. But yeah, I'll show you how I put these on and how I take them off, and just generally how they sit and how they wear. Let's see what. Okay, that should work. All right, I'll start with the vest, and this weighs, I think, around between 13 and 15 pounds. Usually put my, well, actually I'll take my watch off. That'll make life a little bit easier. There we go. Make sure it's not folded up or anything, because if it's bound up, it'll get caught, and it's a pain in the ass to get off or get down all the way. There we go. And then get the hair out. And a lot of people will ask, does it catch your hair? It does, but not as much as you would think. Let's get the shirt unbunched from inside. And this is a pretty comfortable vest. I mean, it does start to feel pretty darn heavy after you wear it for a number of hours at a time, especially if you're doing strenuous activity like attending a Nerf war, running around all day, or going to a metal concert, such stuff like that. I mean, mostly this particular vest will wear right on my collarbones, and it'll usually start to dig in on my shoulders, naturally, because that's where most of the weight sits. And especially because a lot of the time I don't wear a shirt underneath this vest, I just wear this vest over bare skin. Which you can do, just depends on how you prefer to do things. But as far as getting it off, you can't just pull it up like a normal shirt, obviously, because this thing it's too heavy for that to work. So basically you need to use gravity as your ally, and it looks goofy doing this, but it's the best way to get it off. You gotta just kind of hike it up and bend over and shimmy out of it. And there you have. That's how you get out of chainmail. And so there's this one, which is a little bit more flexible, a little bit more open, and a little bit heavier. This one's around 20 to 25 pounds, I think. There we go. There you have a much longer hauberk as opposed to a vest. Hauberks are really shirts. Usually they go down a good bit further, and they often have sleeves. I don't know if they always do, but they usually do. And it just hangs lower and covers more of the body, basically. And this one I'll wear to Ren fairs and stuff. And I'll usually have this little leather jerkin over it just because it looks nice. I mean, it doesn't really provide any kind of armor protection. This stuff's just for aesthetics. But to get out of this, you do the same thing, pretty much. And actually, you get a pretty good range of motion. If you try to put your arms up a lot, you end up lifting the shirt, as you can see. You'd probably want to wear a belt with this, but I don't feel like taking my belt off and putting it over the top. But to get it out of it, you do pretty much the same thing. And the looser the shirt, the easier it is to get out. actually, as they get heavier, they also get slightly easier to get out of. Which this new halberd that I'm making is going to be very interesting because it's the biggest thing I've ever made out of chainmail, and it's probably going to weigh somewhere between 35 and 40 pounds, which is just a huge amount of weight to put into one piece. But I think that's it for now. I'll keep you guys updated as things happen. So anyway, have a great day.